Hi you guys! Look, I have a fluffy ball on my head! Hi you guys! So today I am going to be doing my birthing video. My birthing experience with all three, not six, of my kids. And my kids do range from 7 months on October 30th to 3 years old and 5 years old. They were all very different, and my last one was probably the best, but we will start with my oldest and go down from there. So my oldest is Nathan. He's 5, and I was 19 when I was pregnant with him, and I turned 20 right before I had him, actually. And my husband, at that point in time, my husband and I were in the military, or I wasn't. He was in the military, but I was a military wife, and he got deployed in August of 2009, and our son was born in October. About a week before I had Nathan, my husband called me. He was able to call me and like Skype me here and there. But he called me and he was like, hey, I just found out I am being transferred to Afghanistan. He was in Iraq at the time, and he was getting transferred to Afghanistan. So I was like, oh my gosh, I still have like 2 or 3 weeks left before my due date. But I also had preeclampsia. And so my doctor I was going in 2 to 3 times a week to be monitored and to have my normal checkup since I was so close. You go every week after, I think it's like 35 weeks or 34 weeks or something like that, or 30 weeks, I don't even remember. But so at that point I was going in constantly multiple times a week, being put on the monitor and all that kind of stuff. So I remember the one day that I went in, I had an appointment, I got on the monitor, and then I went to go see the doctor. I didn't see my doctor that day. I saw a coworker of hers because my doctor was at the hospital. So I actually talked to the doctor that I saw, and I said, my husband just let me know that he's being transferred, and my OB at the time, we had talked about inducing, and so I asked her if we could maybe do it within the next week. And so they had taken, tested my iron levels and all that kind of stuff that day. And so she said, well, let me go look at your test results and I'll be right back. Well, my mom was at the appointment with me, and so it was just me and my mom, and after that appointment we planned we were going to go fit shopping and finish getting last minute things for the hospital and all that kind of stuff. So we were just chatting about that, and then the doctor came back in and she said, okay, she handed me a piece of paper and she said, okay, they're waiting for you over at maternity. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? She said, they're waiting for you over in maternity. You're going to do this today. I freaked out. I was so nervous. Like, this is my first baby. My husband's not here. He's overseas in a different country. I don't know how I'm going to get in touch with him. He's at work. He's working over there now. It's like completely different time of day. It was like in the morning. It was probably like 9 or 10 o'clock-ish here. And probably like, I don't know, it was way later in the day over there. But luckily his roommate over there, they were really good friends, and his girlfriend and I had become good friends, and we were chatting back and forth, and I knew that they talked every day. They Skyped every day. And so I told her, I said, please, as soon as you talk to Matt, please tell him to tell my husband that I'm having this baby like right now. So finally, about 30 minutes later, he called me, but my blood pressure and everything was so high that the doctors kept, telling me, they were like, you can't talk to him right now. And I'm like, this is the only thing that is making me okay. But I ended up having to get off of the phone with him and not be able to talk with him until after I had our son. So I called my best friend Casey. I don't know if she's watching this, but if you are, hi, I love you, and I miss you, we need to hang out. But I called her because I had previously asked her if she would be there with me, because nobody else still lived in the town where we grew up together. So I asked her, and she said, yeah, just call me. She didn't have any kids at the time either, so she was like, yeah, just call me. So I called her, and I was like, Casey, you need to get to the hospital now. And she was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh my gosh, I'm on my way. So she came, and my mom went and got a few things for me, like last minute stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I was, in the hospital. They hooked me up to the Pitocin and broke my water and all that kind of stuff. And, after that, it was just kind of like a waiting game to see, when everything was going to happen. And my doctor broke my water first, and then they gave me Pitocin, which I really like that they do that. Here where I am, I've heard a lot of things about them giving Pitocin first and then breaking the water, and it just not working as well. So yeah, I really like how it worked out that way. But so I was there a few hours, and the contractions like almost right away started, and I was like, okay, I'm ready for an epidural. So they gave me an epidural, and it only worked in certain spots. So that was just dandy. And the spots that it did work in, it didn't work very well. At this point in my life now, with all three of my experiences, I wish that I hadn't have gotten an epidural at all with any of them, because I feel like that first time and feeling those contractions, I feel because I got the epidural and it was almost kind of working against my body, that it made the contractions worse, and it just made my experience worse. So yeah, I wish I hadn't gotten the epidural, but just especially because it didn't work. They gave me 2 epidurals plus like some booster thingy or whatever it was. I don't even know, but this was 5 years ago, so. But yeah, so I was in labor or having contractions or anything like that for about 5.5 hours or so, and we started to push. They were like, okay, let's do this. And so I started pushing. I probably pushed for I don't even think I pushed for a full 30 minutes, because I wasn't even like in labor from like the time I got into the hospital and sat in that bed until the time that he was born for 6 hours. I would say like probably like 5 hours and 50 minutes, like literally. But yeah, and it was amazing. And like, like everybody says, you'll never know what love is and what love feels like until then. And I mean, yes, you know what love is, but it's a completely different kind of love. And it's like that first love. It's funny to say, but yeah, it's kind of like that. And it was just so awesome. And after that, I went home back to North Carolina, and I stuck it out by myself for 6 months until my husband finally came home from Afghanistan. So he came home February of 2010. So that was an experience, and he left with only a pregnant wife, and he came home to his wife and a baby, which was very different and new for him. So he had to adjust to that. With the second baby, Paisley, I was only in labor for a total of 3 hours with her, from the time I got into the hospital to the time that she was born. That morning, and that night, I was kind of like up throughout the night, and that morning I kind of felt weird, and like I felt like I lost what they call your mucus plug, and you can lose that. Like, that can come out like way before you even go into labor, or that can happen like right before. Well, mine happened the morning of, and my oldest, he was born on October 15th. Our daughter, so we went to a place here, it's called Bee City, and it's like a little petting zoo kind of thing. They've got lemurs and all that kind of stuff. They've got lemurs and monkeys and goats and llamas and all kind of things. And so that Sunday, like, we always have a Sunday birthday dinner with the family for everybody. Whenever their birthday is, we have a birthday dinner on Sunday. So we were going to that for our son, and we literally got there, and I was just feeling kind of like weird, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and call the doctor. So I called, and she was like, okay, well, you're explaining to me kind of like early signs of labor, so go ahead and come in and we'll see what's going on. So my husband had literally like just walked in the door, and everybody was like, okay, let's go ahead and eat. And I was like, hey, we gotta go to the hospital. And he was like, are you serious right now? And I was like, yeah. So we went to the hospital. We got there. She was like, yeah, you're in early labor, so we're gonna go ahead and induce you, or give me the Pitocin and everything like that. So they broke my water, gave me Pitocin, same thing. And the contractions like hit me like that, just like they all of a sudden went from like me being able to kind of feel them to me being able to feel them all the time. And so we got the epidural, and that one worked really well. I wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to sleep. I wanted to take a nap. I was just like, oh my gosh, okay, can I sleep please? And they were like, no, you need to push now. And I was like, what? Are you serious? Totally ruining my nap time right now. But ended up pushing for probably, I think I pushed maybe like 4 times, and she was born. Oh, Nathan, he was 6 pounds 5 ounces and 20 inches long, and Paisley was 8 pounds 12 ounces and 21 inches long, and or 20 3/4, something like that, I don't remember. But yeah, and she was here, and after that they moved me to just a regular room, a regular maternity room. With Nathan, I had to stay in the delivery room, in the delivery bed, for 3 days. I was in the hospital for 4. They would not let me leave because of my blood pressure and my preeclampsia and all that kind of stuff that I was having. So with Paisley, I got to get up after a few hours and move to a new room, and I was there for a few days, however long. I think I was only there for like 3 days, I think. Yeah, because they give you an option. You only have to stay like that night and then go home the next, or you can stay like 2 or 3 or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, I stayed like the full amount that I was allowed to. And yeah, and then with Connor, March 16th of this year, I was having really bad like back pain, but I was also having contractions, and my due date wasn't until April 7th. Yeah, my due date was April 7th, and I really, really, really wanted an April baby because my husband's birthday is April 15th, and our wedding date is April 13th, so I really wanted to have an April baby. And, but March 16th, I was having really, really bad back pains and contractions with it, and so I was thinking that I was going into back labor, and I was like praying that that's not what it was. And I would get in the hot shower and, you know, stretch, take Tylenol, and like they didn't seem to be working. And so we went into the hospital, and the guy that we saw was incredibly rude, and pardon my French, but he was a douchebag. I mean, he was horrible, and I hope if I have another kid here, I never see him again. Being my husband was like, we better never see him again because I hurt him. But he, like, when they check your cervix and everything, they are supposed to lay you down because it's pretty far up there and it hurts a lot if you're sitting up. And he wouldn't lay me down, and he hurt me very bad. It hurt so much I almost started to cry, and I have a very high tolerance for pain. So and he was very rude. He kept telling me that I didn't know what a contraction was, and this, that, and the other, and that I wasn't having contractions, and blah, 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 blah. They had me on a monitor, and like not even 2 minutes later, he confirmed what I had just told him, that I was having contractions about 7 minutes apart, 5 to 7 minutes apart. It's like, okay, that's what I just told you, so why were you telling me that I didn't know what I was talking about? You're a butthead. Anyways, so he told me that I needed to go home, and that they needed to get a lot worse than what they were in order for me to actually be in labor. And at that time, I think I was like 2 or 3 centimeters. I think I was like 2 centimeters. And like 60% effaced or something like that. I can't, or no, I was 80% effaced and like 2 to 3 centimeters. One or the other. I'm pretty sure it was 2, but anyways. So we went home, and I did everything over again, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to get in the bed, use the heating pad, and hopefully try and fall asleep. I finally eventually fell asleep, and the next morning I was fine. So we stuck it out, and then that happened again, like 2 nights later. So I just did the same thing, and it went away, and it was fine. And then March 30th, at the morning of March 30th at like 2:30 in the morning, I woke up with like really bad, like serious contractions. And so I got into the shower to, you know, do the whole process over again. And I just could not get comfortable that entire night. I was like tossing and turning, and my daughter was up throughout the night because she knew that something was just not right. She was like, something's gonna happen. And so I was in the shower. His mom got up, and she was like, Trey, have you checked on your wife? It's 2:30 in the morning and she's in the shower. So he came in there, and he was like, are you alright? And I was like, yeah, I'm just having, you know, contractions or whatever. And he was like, okay. He had had a really long day and a really long week, so I just kind of wanted to let him sleep. Mama. So she was up throughout the night, and she just knew something was up, and so she went and got in the bed with my husband, and I just told him, go back to bed. I'll wake you up if I need you, or if I need to go to the hospital. So after the shower, I went and got back in the bed, put the heating pad on, and tried to kind of maneuver and get comfortable. Nothing was working. It just wasn't happening for me. So I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I was like, I'm just going to go in the living room. And so I went into the living room. I sat in my husband's brand new camouflage recliner. Yes, we have a camouflage recliner. I know. But we love it. It's actually really, really comfortable. So I sat in that, and I don't even remember what time it was at this point, but I was, you know, constantly tracking my contractions, and they were just a few minutes apart. They were just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and closer and closer and closer together. And finally by 6:30, I called the doctor's office, and I was like, look, I'm having contractions. They're about like 3 minutes apart, if that, now, and they are serious. And I just don't feel like sitting here anymore. And at that point, I was like, okay, I can handle this, but I just don't want to sit here anymore and just do nothing. And I was like, I know that they're probably going to get a lot worse than this, and I'm probably going to be in labor for a lot longer than I am now. But, yeah, the doctor called me back, and it was actually the same doctor that delivered my daughter. It wasn't my OB, but they worked together. And so I got my husband up and I was like, okay, look, they want us to go to the hospital now. We need to leave. And I'm trying to like put my shoes on, but I'm like having contractions so close together at that point. I was just like not able to do anything. I told him, I was like, don't forget my pillow. I want my pillow. So we got in the car. He tried to drive as fast as I could. I think I scared the living daylights out of my husband with this kid, because he thought that he was going to have to deliver him in the car. That's the point that I was at. I was like, if they tell me to go home, I'm going to hurt somebody. So we got there. He pulled up to the maternity side door, let me out. I told him, go ahead, let me start walking. You go park. So I started walking, and we're walking back to the maternity. Thank goodness the maternity side doors were open, because if I had to go in the ER, which is on the other side of the hospital, I would have had him in the middle of the hospital. No joke. I got back to the maternity ward. One of the nurses said, oh, hey, are you Miss Mosley? We were expecting you. And so we got back there. We got to the room. And they kept asking me, do you want a wheelchair, while I was on the way back there. I was like, no, just let me do it myself. Because I didn't want to sit down. When I sat down, I was way more uncomfortable. So, sorry, she's singing over here. So at that point, I finally got into the room, and she, was asking me how I was feeling, and this, that, and the other. And I told her, I said, well, actually right now, I was like, I feel like I need to push. And she was like, don't do that yet. Way above my pay grade. Let's get the doctor. Let's see what's going on first. She was like, here's a gown, and here is a cup if you can try and give me a urine sample. So I told her, I said, okay, I'll try. I'm not going to promise anything. So she walked out of the room, closed the door, and I literally like dropped trowel there. I dropped my pants, and I like shuffled to the bathroom, because I was just like, I'm done. This is it. They need to hurry. So I sat on the toilet, got ready to pee in the cup, and my water broke. Yep, your water doesn't break until at least 10 centimeters and you're fully dilated, because it needs that much pressure. So, yeah, my water broke as soon as I sat on the toilet, and my husband was standing in front of me. His face, I have told everybody, I wish I had a camera just to take a picture of his face, because he was like, oh God. He went out of that room and was like, her water just broke. We need to go now. And they were like, oh crap. Like 10 nurses came into the room, got me off the toilet onto the bed, and they were like, we need the doctor now. She's crowning. Let's go. Well, 2 pushes later, here is Mr. Connor. So, yeah, I had literally gotten to the hospital 5 minutes before he was born. I got and arrived to the hospital at 7:05 a.m. March 30th, and he was born at 7:10. So yeah, labor. I didn't even have a chance to get an epidural with him, and I would never change it for the world. It was the best experience ever. I wish I hadn't gotten an epidural with either of the first 2, because it's so much better. My healing process was so much better. The painkillers your body makes for itself are amazing. I literally did not feel a thing. It was awesome. Like, it really was, and I'm so happy that I didn't even have like the chance to get an epidural or anything like that. I'm glad I sat on that chair and waited for so long until I called and we went to the hospital, because I probably would have gotten an epidural if I was at the hospital, just because I think when you're at the hospital and you're like, oh, you don't really know, but at the same time, then when you're at your house and you're feeling like that, you're like, oh, this is going to be a while. Like, I thought my contractions were going to get a lot worse than what they were, and because I remember them being like that with the other 2, But, and, you know, right after, you know, I gave birth, but I just didn't think about it at that point, and I just sat there for like ever. So yeah, he was the easiest and fastest labor and delivery ever. They have said they've never seen anybody faster than that, and that it was crazy. So yeah, thank goodness I am a good birther. I am good at having babies, so that's always nice. That is my labor and delivery story with all 3 of my kids. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you guys want other mommy videos, please leave them down in the comments below and let me know what types of mommy videos you want to see. And I hope you guys enjoy my mommy videos. I really like making these a lot. Actually, I never really thought that I would make these types of videos on my channel, but I have really actually enjoyed filming them. So please, if you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so much. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video, and go watch my full coverage foundation video that I just recently uploaded. And yeah, I think that's it for today. I hope to see you guys soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.